We take it for granted that religion and government are separate entities. The Vatican exists as a distinct city-state, a moral authority physically removed from the secular capitals that manage the world's economy and military. Curious, but if we look back 4,000 years to the plains of Mesopotamia, looking at this region between the Tigris and Euphrates, that boundary disappears. There was no divine right to rule. There was only direct physical divinity. Naram-Sin, the grandson of Sargon the Great, is traditionally remembered as a cautionary tale of hubris. Standard history paints him as a king whose arrogance brought a divine curse upon his people. That curse is a historical fabrication. Naram-Sin was actually history's first global strategist. He understood that physical armies can conquer territory, but they cannot secure permanent control. To maintain an empire, a leader must secure a monopoly on reality itself. He must own the metaphysical laws that govern human thought. The crisis arrived in 2250 BCE. Naram-Sin was besieged by a massive coalition of enemies known as the Great Rebellion of the Nine Kings. He did not beg the priests for help. He bypassed them. This cuneiform tablet reveals his survival strategy. He added this star-shaped symbol, the dingir, directly to his name. In their language, that symbol identifies a god. On this stele, he wears the horned helmet, an artifact strictly reserved for the ancient gods of the sky. Panning down, we see the result. He defeated the Nine Kings as a living deity. His soldiers are witnessing a miracle. This wasn't madness. It was an attempt to build a centralized autocracy where the bureaucracy answered to a physical god-emperor, effectively removing the power of the independent temples. Naram-Sin won the military conflict, but his self-deification created a permanent political enemy, the religious elite. The priests of the old gods did not disappear. They remained within the empire's administrative heart, working to undermine the king who replaced their deities. They used their local temple economies to sabotage the imperial logistics, rot the supply chains, and incite the Gutian mountain tribes to attack from the north. Caught between a coordinated bureaucratic strike and an external invasion, the Akkadian Empire collapsed under its own weight. Naram-Sin's failure was a half measure. He replaced the old gods, but left the architects of the old system alive to engineer his destruction. Consider the alternate timeline. What if Naram-Sin had finished the job, executed the priesthood of Nippur, and burned the old temples to the ground? Look at how the timeline shifts. Mesopotamia had already invented the wheel, writing, and advanced mathematics. In our world, these tools were frozen by the collapse of central authority. But under an unbroken, millennia-long Akkadian rule, that momentum never resets. Massive, state-controlled labor leads to an industrial state 2,000 years ahead of schedule. In this world, the invisible creator gods of the Abrahamic religions never take root. Morality is not a divine mystery. It is a state decree issued by the physical emperor in Akkad. The center of the world never moves to Europe. London and New York remain fishing villages, while global trade is dictated from the banks of the Tigris. We see a lost future, bronze and glass megastructures powered by the sun. An ancient space race begins in Uruk, launched so the living god-emperor can claim his seat among the stars. This entire reality was erased because one man hesitated to finish a political purge. Strategy follows a cold rule. If you decide to change the foundational rules of the world, you cannot stop halfway to apologize to the people you are displacing. You cannot negotiate with the guardians of an old system. For a new truth to survive, the old one must be entirely eradicated. Naram-Sin was a visionary who failed to eliminate those who remembered he was only a man. After his fall, those survivors mutilated his statues, ensuring his vision of divinity was physically erased from history. Absolute power dies the moment it allows a competing reality to exist. Today, we live in the wreckage of that failure. Our world is a collection of divided nations and competing deities, built on the ruins of Naram-Sin's centralization. But his strategy has resurfaced. We see it in modern authoritarian regimes, in personality cults on social media, and in the total monopolies of the digital age. These entities seek to own the platforms that define our personal reality. They are competing to govern how we perceive truth itself. Naram-Sin failed because he was too merciful to his predecessors. It is a mistake the next architect